Wow, you can see how beautiful our dress is looking on our princesses. You can see how beautiful the back is. You can see the tie area. You can see what it looks like. It's so beautiful, guys. So this, if this is what you like to see, definitely keep on watching. Hi guys, you're welcome once again to my YouTube channel. My name is Unoma. So guys, in today's video we're going to be using this beautiful Duchess material to make this dress. Okay, it's a Duchess fabric. This is what we're going to be using for today's project. Okay, so guys, if you've not subscribed to this channel, please do well to subscribe to this channel. Okay, hit on the subscribe button up there somewhere. Yeah, it's totally free. Please do well to join this beautiful family. Give this video a thumbs up, and also turn on the notification bell so that you get notified whenever we upload a new video. So before we go into that, we're going to be calculating what we're going to be using. It's actually a 360-degree peplum. So now the waist of this dress is 22. We're going to be adding some ease to it to gather a bit at the waist. So I added 10 inches plus 2 inches for my zipper allowance, which will give me a total of 34 inches. So 34 inches, we're going to be dividing it by 6.28, which is the formula for our radius, okay, which is going to give us 5.41 or thereabout. So we're going to be approximating that to 5.5. So our radius is 5.5. Now the gown length is 28 inches. We're going to be subtracting 11.5 inches from it. That 11.5 inches is actually our half length, which is the shoulder to the waist measurement. So it's going to giving us a total of 16.5, and we are adding our 5.5 inches radius, which will give us 22 inches. The 22 inches plus 1.5, which is for our sewing allowance to hem it at the down part of the dress, and also to join the upper bodice to the lower part, which is giving us a total of 23.5. So guys, we'll be folding our fabric by 23.5. So now I'm going ahead to fold this fabric like so. So I'm folding by 23.5 like so. Okay, so I'm checking if this is actually 23.5. Once it's 23.5, unfold please, is unfold by 23.5. Yeah, so when I've gone ahead to check that, so I'm also going to measure vertically as well to also give me 23.5. So I'm going to be chalking that part which it gave, by 23.5. Then I'm going to placing one finger like so, then taking it at the tip and folding it again. Okay, and folding it again. So I've gone ahead to fold it again. So now our fabric is on fold by 4. Okay, so I folded it first into 2, then folded it into 4. So now we have 23.5 by 23.5 is like a square. Now we have, okay, hope that is clear. So right now we're going to be measuring our radius, which is 5.5. Okay, so we're going to be starting the measurement from that tip of the cloth, edge of the cloth there. So 5.5, which is our radius, we're going to be taking it round like so. So 5.5, that's what I'm taking right now. So this is our radius. So from that, I'm just checking if our measurement is accurate. It's always accurate whenever you use the radius, if you calculate your radius properly. So now I'm going to be taking from that place, which point which I have my radius, down to where my dress is going to stop in, or rather for For a beginner, I will advise you to place your tape on that line by 11.5 inches, which is your half length. Whatever you have on your half length, that's your shoulder to your waist, place your tape on that point, on that mark, the radius mark we have there. Okay, in case yours is maybe 10 inches, place your tape on 10 inches on that mark, then measure your full length. Okay, if yours is 10 inches and your full length is, let's say, 20 inches, you place your tape on 10 inches like so, then measure 20 inches. Okay, that's what you should do. Then you add your seam allowance of 1 inch or 1.5 or 2 inch, whatever you want to use. But for mine is 11.5, so I place my tape on 11.5, then measured 28 inches, which is my gown length, and I added 1.5 inches. Basically, that's what we took, that's what we used in measuring our fold, so it will be fine. But see, now I'm going back again after measuring, taking my tape to 11.5 and measuring my actual length, dress of the gown length rather. I'm also taking my tape to measure whatever I have there, then take it round, if that's going to be easier for you. Hope you understand what I'm saying. If this is not very clear, maybe you should watch the video again, okay, for better understanding. You can see that I've also gone up again to take my measurement from 11.5 down to my gown length. Okay, I'm just doing that so that you guys can know that it's actually the same thing. It will actually give you the same result. Okay, so I'm just connecting those lines together, and once I'm done connecting it together, I'll just go ahead to cut this out. Okay, just making sure you can see it's actually the same thing. Okay, so right now I'll just cut this out. So there, I've gone ahead to cut out the flare, our flare. You can see all the sides are closed. Okay, once you're cutting this kind of flare, all the sides will actually be closed. There'll be nowhere that will be open. It's when we want to attach it to the upper part of our dress that we're going to be slitting just one side open for our zipper. So now I'm just going to keep this aside. Now I've gone ahead to fold my fabric again for my upper part using my largest circumference, which is my bust measurement divided by 4. So I added 2 inches for my sewing allowance. So you can see there's another one underneath it. That's my back bodice. So I actually left 1 inch there for my zipper. Now I'm going to measure my shoulder measurement divided by 2. Then I added half an inch allowance. Okay, so now I'm taking 2.5 inches for my shoulder slope. For children, I like using 2.5 or 2.75. Okay, so I took 2.5, then I came down by 1 inch from the shoulder measurement. Now rule a slant line there to connect to my 2.5. Okay, so right now I'm going to be taking my armhole measurement, which is 6 inches. Okay, my armhole is actually 12 inches divided by 2 to be 6 inches. So that's what I marked there. So right now I'm going to be measuring what I have on my shoulder, and I'll bringing it back to my armhole so that I can get a straight line to connect it back to my shoulder. That's what I just did there. So now I'm going to be measuring my shoulder to my waist measurement, or rather I'm going to be measuring my bust, taking my bust measurement divided by 4 by that's my bust measurement divided by 4. I placed it there and I'm adding 2 inches for my sewing allowance. So now I'm taking my waist to my shoulder to my waist measurement, which is my half length. So it's 11.5 for me. I added 1 inch for sewing allowance. Okay, so from that point I'll go back to my waist measurement, taking my waist measurement divided by 4, then I'll add 2 inches for my sewing allowance. You can go ahead and add any inches you want for your sewing allowance, but for me I use 2 inches. Then I'll connect it back to my bust measurement like so. So now I've gone back to the armhole. I'm going to be dividing my armhole by 2, locating the midpoint of that this armhole. I'll be coming in by half an inch for my front. Okay, coming in by half an inch. Then on the armhole area, I'll be coming up by 1 inch. If you do not have an armhole curve, I think this method is very good so that you can have a perfect curve over there. Connect it back to the half an inch we have there. So right now, I'll be coming up by half an inch at the shoulder, so I'll have an allowance to join my shoulders together. So there. So for my waist area, I always come up by 1 inch for adults, okay? But for children, I use 0.75 or thereabout, yeah? So I'll be connecting it to the midpoint of our bodice, okay? Just to have a curve at that point. I do not like it to be straight because most times whenever it's straight, it gives this funny effect at the sides. It makes it drop, which is not so nice. So, but for my back armhole will remain straight, okay? So before I cut this out, I'll be measuring my neck depth and my neck width. I'm using 2.5 inches for my neck depth. 2.5 inches for my neck depth and also 2.5 inches for my neck width. So I'm just going to connect in like so. 2.5 by 2.5 for my front, okay? Then after I connect the front neck depth and neck width, I'll go ahead to measure. Yeah, after I do this, I'll go ahead to measure my back depth. My back depth and the neck, I'm going to be using 1 inch, and the width remains the same as the front. So I'm just going to be cutting out my back first, cutting out my back neck line first. Yeah, then I'm cutting through the shoulder, the armhole. I'm removing the front armhole first. I'll just cut it out like so. So once, yeah, just trimming out the waist area. So I'm going to be removing the back rather, so I can cut out my front neckline. Actually, after I cut out the front neckline, I went ahead to cut out the half an inch, which I left at the armhole area, but I cut that out of camera, okay? So now, yes, I'm going to be doing a little adjustment, not really adjustment, I'm just going to be giving a little design at the back. For what is on the thumbnail, you know it is the back is open to the waist, okay? But for mine, I do not want it to be open all the way to the waist area. So I'm actually ruling my zipper allowance so that I can know where to start my measurement from, okay? So now I've ruled that. So now I'm going to be coming up by 6 inches from the waist area. 6 inches, okay? So that's where my zipper will be stopping. I do not want my zipper to be open, my back to be open to my waist area. So I just came up by 6 inches at the back, okay? So that line which we have there is the 6 inches, okay? So I'll just be taking away the front so that you can understand what I'm doing properly. So from that point, I'll be coming in by about 3 inches, depending on how open you want yours to be. But for me, I used 3 inches. So just rolled gave a straight line from that part to join the 3 inches which I marked. So from that 3 inches, I'll just make any shape of my choice. So I just rolled a curved line to meet the neckline. Okay, this is what I did. So you can see it properly now. Just rolled a curved line there. So yeah, I'm about to cut, but before I cut, this back is actually going to be having like a belt or a bow or a tie or a rope, like a strap which we can actually tie at the back. So now I'm going to be coming down by 1.5 inches from my neck, from my neck depth, okay, because that is where our tie is going to be connecting to. Okay, so now this is what I did. So from that point I just connect it. So before I do that, I'm going to be measuring my zipper allowance, then measure it back at the top area. So I want to actually remove that zipper allowance at the top, because if you leave it there, you'll be having excess. So when you're tying your tie at the back, it will not relax. It will be having this fold at the back area, which we do not want. So that's why I removed the zipper allowance from that top before cutting out the rest. Yeah. So yeah, that is what we have there. So I'm going to be slitting the back open now, so you can see what we have. So before I open this up, I'm going to be removing half an inch at the waist area of this dress. This I just slant it back to the neck, as in the neck area. Okay, this will help to eliminate any bulge at the back. So now I've opened it up, so you can see what we have there. You can see the shape we've created at the back. So now I'll just place it on each other. You know there's a zipper allowance at that back. Just place it on each other. You can see the top part touching each other. It is not overlapping. That's why I actually cut out that 1 inch there, so that we will not have any overlap, since the zip is not getting to that point. Okay, so now I'm just going to be keeping this aside and concentrate on cutting the sleeve. So our sleeve is going to be actually um in a half circle form. Okay, guys, if you've watched up to this point and you have not yet subscribed, please do well to hit the subscribe button, then continue watching. Thank you. So our sleeve is going to be in a half circle form. Okay, so now I folded my fabric into two first. So I just want to be determining what I'm going to be using for the fold. Okay, my armhole round is actually 12 inches, but this sleeve is going to be having little pleats at the around the armhole, so I'm not actually using the armhole circumference. I'll be adding an additional I'm going to be adding something to it just to give it that extra allowance to enable me have some pleats at the waist, at the armhole area. So right now I've gone ahead to determine what I'm going to be using for my armhole. So now I folded it once, then I folded it again in a triangular manner. Okay, you guys can remember we used when we're folding for the full circle, we folded once, then we folded it like a square. But now when you are folding for your half circle, you fold like a triangle. Okay, after folding the first fold, then you bring the two. When you fold into two first, you bring the two and fold like a triangle. Okay, hope you understand what I'm saying. So now from that point, I'm going to be taking my radius. My formula for radius is 3.14. Yeah. So I took whatever I want to use for my armhole round. I divided by 3.14. So that's what gave me what I'll be using for my radius. Okay. So that's what I just wrote round. Then from that round part, then I came down and measured what I want to use for my sleeve length, basically. Whatever you want to use for your sleeve length, you just measure after taking your radius, okay? The radius is very important, okay? So you measure whatever. If your sleeve round is your armhole round is maybe 12, maybe I added like 10 inches to it. That will give me 22. Then you measure it by 3.14, which is the formula for half circle. So that's how I came about my radius. Then from that point, you measure whatever measurement you want to use for your sleeve. So now I'm cutting. You can see very well that I did not cut. I just cut out the side, please. I did not cut the fold one side. I cut out one side, then cut. I hope you understand this. So when I open it, you can see we only have one opening. The other part is on fold. Okay, that's what I'm trying to explain to you guys. So I'll use this to cut out another sleeve because we have two sleeves. Okay, so yeah, I've gone ahead to cut out the second sleeve. So yeah, we have two now. So at that down area, I'll be having elastic there. So right now I want to cut out my lining. Guys, I did not cut out, I'm cutting out the lining for the down part of this dress, but I'm not cutting out my lining like a full circle because I'm going to be gathering net on this lining. I do not want my lining to be in the form of a full circle because I do not want it to be too wide. I have to use so much net. So I'm actually cutting my lining with half circle. Okay, I used my actual waist measurement. I just added a bit to it, okay, for my circumference. Then I divided it by 3.14, which is my formula for half circle. Then I used the length, the total length of my dress, of my down part of my dress. I minus 2 inches from it, so my lining is shorter than the down part of my dress by 2 inches. Hope you understand what I'm saying. My lining is shorter, okay, by 2 inches. So just measure wherever you've cut out for your dress, for the down part of your dress, whatever you have, just subtract 2 inches from it when cutting out the length for your lining. I also folded this by like a triangle, just like we did for the sleeves. Okay, so I'm going to be cutting it out like so. Cut out the down part. I'm cutting out the down part first for this. So you can see what I did again here. This was what I was explaining to you, that when you're cutting out the straight area, you don't cut on top of the other fold because that part is on fold. So that once you are done cutting, you just have a one side open, okay? You don't have your two sides open because once you cut on top the four folds, you'll be having two sides open. You can see what we have here. So this will be using for our lining. Now I've also gone ahead to cut the lining for the upper part of this dress. So I went ahead to add a paper gum, a paper stay to the neckline. If you've been following this channel, you know that we always do this. It helps to make, when you turn the neck, it helps the neck stay down flat. So now I'll be taking to the sewing machine. I'll be placing it like so, right side facing each other, and I'll stitch with half an inch like you see me doing. So once I get to this part, I'll be leaving it because I'm going to be attaching my tie, okay? I'm going to be attaching my tie. It's going to be underneath this. It will be in between the lining and the fabric. Okay, this is what I use. I cut out for my tie at the back. So I actually cut this out. This is what I'm going to be using for it. So I'll take to the sewing machine first, fold it into two, then I'll sew it, then bring it out, turn it inside out, then I'll bring it back to show you guys how I'm going to be using this. Okay, I cut it long like this. So this long is actually for the two area. Once I'm done sewing, I will slit it. I'll divide it into two, then I'll attach one at this end and one at the other side of the back. Let me quickly go to the sewing machine. I think I should take this to the sewing machine and come back so that you guys can understand what I'm saying properly. So I've done that. I sewed it down like so with 0.25 inches. So I've sewed this down, sewn this down. So the total length of this, I think I use about 40 inches or 30 or thereabouts. Yeah. So I'm going to folding this into two. I think I use 30 inches. So each one now, by the time I divide this into two, I'll be having 15 inches of both. Okay. I'll be having 15 inches for each belt or tie, whatever it is called. So I'm going to bring it inside out and give it a good press. I've gone ahead to do that. So we have two like so. So I'm going to bring in the back again so that I can show you guys what I was trying to explain initially. So now I'm taking one part of the belt. I'm making sure the folded area, okay, the folded area, not the area that I stitched. The folded area is at the top of the neckline of the dress. Okay, it's at the top. You can see what we have. So I'm leaving half an inch at that part so that half an inch can serve as what I'll be using to join the lining to the main fabric at the neckline area. So you can see that half an inch there. So I'm going to be placing this underneath as an in between the lining and the fabric like so. Then I'll be taking to the sewing machine. Okay, then I'll be stitching it down like so. Get to this point like this, then continue at the neck area. Okay, that's what I will be doing. Then stitch the sides as well before flipping it outside, before flipping it to the front. Okay, so this will be, by the time I flip it, this will be like so. So let me quickly do that. So I'll do that to the other side as well. So this is the front area. I'll be doing this as well to the front, placing the lining right side facing, then I'll take the sewing machine, stitch it round, and I'll also stitch the sides as well. So guys, I've gone ahead to do that. So you can see what we have here. You can see what we have here. And I've also ironed this down flat and nice. You can see what we have here. This is the back. You can see the tie we have outside for the both sides of the back. You can see what we have here. I also went ahead to join the shoulder, guys. I joined this off camera as well. I held it fabric to fabric, lining to lining, and I stitched it down so that I can have a neat finishing inside. So now I'm going to be taking to the sewing machine, placing my right side to right side together. Then I'll stitch with my sewing allowance, 2 inches sewing allowance, which we left when cutting. So once I finish stitching that, I'll be bringing the main the fabric for the down part, just the fabric alone, leaving out the lining. Okay, I'll be bringing it like so, then I'll be joining, attaching it, gathering it around the waist. Okay, so let me quickly do that. Once I'm done doing that, okay, then I'll be bringing my lining and attaching the net. First of all, I'll hem the down part of the lining, then I'll attach the net to it. I'll gather the net. Let me quickly do this before I show you how I'm going to be doing the net. Now I've gone ahead to attach the down parts to the upper parts of this dress. You can see inside now there's no lining, there's no net for now. So just place this aside. I've gone ahead to hem the down part of the lining as well. So now we want to measure what we'll be using to cut out our net. So we'll measure the full length of this lining. So whatever we have there, we'll be cutting it out because I actually want the net rather is going to be shorter than the lining by about an inch, because I do not want the lining to be bulging out and be making the child uncomfortable. So we're going to be having two steps of this. So we're going to be placing half, okay, from the we're going to be measuring the lining into two. So we're going to be placing one gathers half and the other full, okay. So I've gone ahead to cut out what I need. One is full, shorter than the lining by half an inch, by 1 inch. Then the other is all half of it, shorter than the lining as well by 1 inch. So I'm just going to be taking to the sewing machine to gather it like I showed you guys. So this is, I just actually want to mark how I'm going to be gathering it, so it will serve as a guide for me when gathering. So I'm going to be measuring half of this. I'm going to be chalking it like so. So that half, the shorter net will be starting from that line, okay, when I'm gathering it. So the longer one will be starting from the waist. Well, I'll be coming down by about half an inch because I do not want the gathers to start from directly the waist. So when I'm joining into the body, it doesn't bulge so much at the stomach area. So now I've gone ahead to gather this. I gathered it the other way, like so. Then I flipped it so that it will puff up, okay. So once I attach this to my dress, it will push the main fabric up. That's what the effect of this net is going to be giving us. And you can see at the waist area, I left about half an inch at the top area. I don't know if you can see that. I left about half an inch at the top area to be joining my lining to my main bodice. You can see that, yeah, I left about half an inch. So now I'm going to bring in the main bodice, which I've already joined the down area. So this is what we have. This is where I'm going to be attaching it. I'll be locating the midpoint. That's the midpoint of this dress. So I'll also locate the midpoint of our lining. This is the midpoint of the lining. You can see. So I'm going to be taking that midpoint, aligning it with the midpoint of the dress. Okay, then once I'm doing this just watch closely. Okay, I'm putting it at the upper part of this dress. Okay, I didn't place it on the down part because I actually want to conceal the rough edges of the waist in between this lining, okay, inside. So I'm placing the right side on the wrong side of the upper parts, guys. The right side of the lining to the wrong side of the upper parts, like so. So once I do this, once I finish stitching down the lining, once I finish adding the lining to the down part, I will, once I finish adding this to the down part, I will turn it over like so, concealing the rough edges inside, okay. That's the idea of sewing it like this. So once I finish sewing, it will be concealing the rough edges inside. Let me quickly go and do that. I'll come back to show you guys. So guys, I've done that. You can see what we have now. You can see the inside of this dress. We've succeeded in concealing the rough edges in between, okay. You can see what we have here. The dress is already taking its shape. Okay, you can see what we have. Now I also went ahead to close the sides, turn it inside out neatly. And now I'm going to be folding it on each other, joining the zipper allowance together. Then I'll be stitching it down. From the waist I came down by about 5 inches, so that will be my zipper allowance. Then I stitch the rest down, then attach my zipper. So this is the sleeve. So right now we are going to be doing something to gather the sleeve together. I discovered um the child's measurement is a bit too small, so by the time we put an elastic which is going to be holding the child at that part, the elastic will be so tight, too tiny to go through this flare. So right now I devised a means by which I can do this. I cut out a strap, two straps rather. So now I'm going to be folding it into two, as in to create a channel by which I gathered the sleeve first, then using that measurement to cut out the strap which I'm going to be using to create this channel that I'll be using for my elastic casing. So I'm just going to be stitching it down like so, then flipping it the other way around on top of the gathers, then stitching it, stop stitching on top of it. So by doing this, I've succeeded in creating a channel by which my elastic can pass through. Okay, so here I'm just cutting out the fabric using my leftover fabric to create a bow. I just want to create a bow for the back. Okay, just do anything you want, any width you want. Okay, then I just created my bow. Guys, this is the finished look of our dress. Look at our little princess looking so cute in a dress. Look at the back, you can see how beautiful. I also attached a crinoline to the down part of this dress. Okay, time couldn't give me the time to make how to attach the crinoline, but maybe on the next video or sometime I'll actually upload a video on how to attach a crinoline. Okay, so guys, this is the finished look. Subscribe to our channel please if you've not. I discovered you people watch but you're not subscribed. Please just hit the subscribe button to give this video encouragement. Okay, and I also give this video a big thumbs up, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye.